Lucy and I have just gotten spooked a little bit by a few birds that flew up, and but she recovered nice and quickly. But I would like to talk to you all about a couple of chemicals, brain chemicals. Lucy, come here. So the thing is, a dog's brain is not that much different from a human brain. Okay, so they have the upper part of the brain, which is the thinking part. That is where reasoning and learning takes place. And then they have also what is called the limbic system, which is the subcortical part, and that's right below. And that is where emotions take place. So what I like to do with my dogs is I like to get them hooked on two specific brain chemicals. And I do that when there is no stress. Okay, so it starts in the house, and then you can take that outside. And when you don't have any stressful moments, you can kind of like just comfort them, even though there is no real reason to comfort because there was no stress. But what this does is it releases two brain chemicals, and there are more, but those are the two main chemicals. One is called oxytocin. Oxytocin is also known as the love hormone. And oxytocin does a lot of things. It is responsible for bonding between a mother and her infant child. It is responsible for breast milk production. And so there are a lot of uses for oxytocin, or the body has a lot of uses for oxytocin. But bonding, as I said, is one of them. And the amazing thing is that even though dog and human are two different species, when they do certain things like look into each other's eyes or do what I am doing right now, it releases oxytocin. So the skin transports the sensation to the brain. It's a comfortable sensation. It transports it to the brain, and the brain releases oxytocin. At the same time, my brain also releases oxytocin, and that is what bonds us together. But that's not the only thing. The other brain chemical I want to mention that is extremely important is, believe it or not, very addictive. It's a brain-produced opioid. So while oxytocin bonds us, the brain-produced opioid makes the dog feel good. And because it's a good feeling, if we do this when there's no stress, then I call it, we can get them kind of hooked on those chemicals. Okay, so then when there is a stressful moment, it is a lot easier to comfort our dog because the dog has already experienced this sensation here. And if we don't do that before, so if we don't get our dogs hooked on those brain chemicals before there's a stressful moment, and we wait until there's stress, then we are trying to counter the cortisol and the adrenaline production from the stress event with oxytocin and opiates. So those two don't mix all too well. And you know, the message that the oxytocin and the opioids are supposed to deliver within the dog's emotional systems, it can get lost. So it's a lot easier to actually do this before there is a stressful situation, and build a trust, build a bond when everything is nice and calm, nice and quiet. Then you know, and then the dog is prepared for it and you are prepared for it when there is a stressful situation. So as I said, dogs can get hooked on that. The neat thing is, because as I said, it's opioid, and a brain and a body can actually build a tolerance to opioid. However, in this case, that does not happen. And the reason for that is that oxytocin inhibits the building of the tolerance of opioids. And that is really neat. So your dog will never crave more and more and more dosage of opioid, because there's the oxytocin as well. So those two go hand in hand. And now I'm going to stop scratching her back. Let's see what happens. Guess what she's doing? She's actually looking for more. She's totally relaxing, and really neat thing. So give it a try. Comfort your dog before there's any stress event, and just chill with your dog. It's very important. You want the stick? Ah, good girl. So even though we already had 2 bunny rabbits, so 2 very severe triggers, and we had several birds that flew up right in front of us, this is what you get if you follow through with comforting your dog before there's stress. And then you can get that dog out of that stressful situation in a heartbeat. It builds their resiliency. That means that they bounce back from stress very quickly. This is Diana with High Five Canine Coaching, and a friend of mine and myself, we are working on a new concept, and we are calling that the Affective Dog Behavior. And with that new concept, we are trying to bring together the strict guidelines of behaviorism, which do not consider any emotional perceptions, any emotions in the dog. And we're trying to combine that with what is actually happening inside the dog's brain, inside that limbic system. There's no way for us to see what's going on inside the brain other than observing behaviors and knowing what's going on. And by knowing what's going on, because it has been studied very extensively, so we know what's going on, we know what we can do to achieve a certain emotional state in the dog, whether there is stress or not, it helps. So again, it is called Affective Dog Behavior, and we are going to push this. There's no procedure, there's no protocol, there is no recipe. It is just a new concept. And if you are curious about it, please shoot me a message, and Scott Stauffer or myself will be very happy to get back with you. And you have a good day. Bye-bye. Lucy, wait.